When you start getting into photography or content creation and you're looking for a tripod, it can be a shock to see how much professional tripods cost. And on the other end of the spectrum, super affordable tripods in the sub $100 range are often made of relatively cheap materials and don't offer the best durability. But in the price range of $100 to $200, that's where it can be hard to know the difference between a good value and one of those not so good values. Today we're going to take a look at the Manbily FPT-284 aluminum 70-inch tripod, which costs $135, and it has a few tricks up its sleeve which can come in very handy for content creators. Now before we dive in, I want to mention that Manbily sent me this tripod for the purpose of making a review. However, I was not paid to make the video and all opinions shared will be my own. I do have an Amazon affiliate link in the description for you though if you're interested in checking out the FPT-284 and you'd like to support the channel. All right, let's just start by talking about all of the things that come with the FPT-284, and then we'll go over all the features and the specifics of it. Now, the tripod itself comes in a padded zipper carrying case, which is actually pretty nice quality, and it has Velcroed handles as well as an adjustable carrying strap. Inside the bag, you're going to find all of the accessories that come with it. It does come with a ball head, which is actually pretty nice quality. I would say, personally, I've bought several ball heads of varying quality, and I would put this one kind of right in the middle of the pack. It does seem to be entirely made of metal, and the adjustments are smooth, and it does hold on pretty tight to that ball head grip. Overall, I'm actually pretty happy with the quality of the ball head that it came with, which is not always the case with affordable tripods. Now, of course, the tripod has a 3/8 inch mount, and this is a 3/8 inch attachment here. You can, of course, always upgrade to a different ball head if you find that there's one that better suits your needs later on. It does have a standard 3/8 inch mount on the tripod. There is also an attachment for when the tripod is in the horizontal orientation. We'll see all of that when we go outside in just a second. Also included are two mounting plates. It's nice actually that they give you two of these. These are both metal mounting plates with your typical 1/4-20, and these have your Arca Swiss style grooves in them, so they fit in the provided ball head as well as any other ball head or any other mount that has that Arca Swiss style design that just grabs onto those grooves. And then lastly, we've got a couple of small accessories along with an instruction manual here. This little ring is for the horizontal orientation. It's actually sort of a hook for you to attach a counterweight. More on that in just a moment. You've also got a set of spikes for the feet, so you can actually put those in the bottom of the feet if you're on terrain that requires a little bit more of that grip. There is an Allen key here for adjusting all those things and a small D-ring for hanging your counterweight. The only thing I want to point out about what's included is with all of these small parts, there is no interior or exterior accessory pouch. It is just the main compartment here. So if you want to keep all of these little accessories with you on the go, they're going to have to go somewhere else in your camera bag. All right, so that's what comes in the box. Now let's go outside and we'll talk about the features and the different setup options that you have. So when the Manbily tripod is in its shortest configuration, it is this tall. I'll put the measurement up on the screen. It can go lower than this if you angle these legs outward, and you can actually get it pretty low and very stable with the legs out at a really wide position like that. Now adjusting the legs is very easy. It's a simple twist to unlock and then slide out. And I find that they do a great job of holding in place. And so the height you can get out of this is actually quite tall, so it's pretty flexible. Now a lot of the functionality of this tripod comes from the pivoting axis that's right here at the base of the center column. You can actually remove the center column completely by loosening the set screw here, bring it up and it will lock into place. Then you press the button underneath. You actually have to press down here and then it will pop out and it will catch again. And that allows you to then turn this axis sideways, and then you can position it however you like, and then you tighten down this set screw, and then you tighten down the axis control screw here. And now in this position, you have a couple different options. You can actually use the ball head up here by simply rotating it up into the upright position. This will actually give you a lot of control for doing overhead shots by using the ball head over here in this position. You can position the camera down and rotate this whole thing on its panning axis. You can position it upright, like I mentioned, and turn it 360 degrees. For keeping this secure, if we were going to use this in an overhead position, especially with it extended out fairly far, you'll see it's not super prone to tipping, but it will tip if you have especially a heavier mirrorless camera over here on the far end. But they do give you this little adapter, I guess you could call it, ring that goes on this end of the center column with it in the horizontal position. There's a hole in the side of it so that it will lock into place. And they do provide a small D-ring for hanging your counterweight. Now you can use a lot of different things as counterweights. This is just one of my pieces of gear for traveling here, and I can hang it just like that to give a little bit of that counterbalance weight. Now, another interesting feature here, if I remove the ring, is that they also provide another attachment here for mounting another device, whether it's your camera or something else. It could be a light or anything else you need, onto the other end of the column. So if I slide this back over a little bit, I can now slide this over the end, and this will serve as a catch here. I can position this anywhere I need to and then tighten it down. And this is a 3/8 mount here. So the only thing you're going to be limited by is whether you have an adapter that goes from 3/8 to 1/4, 20 or not, because they don't provide a 1/4 inch adapter, thread adapter here for this. So if you don't have something that's 3/8, you need to basically buy something that will adapt this from 3/8 to 1/4, 20, if that's what you need. And when you are ready to put it back, it's as simple as loosening these two again. You want to push this until it comes up and clicks again, rotate it back up, and then just slide it back down and tighten them both again. And you still have your panning access because that is controlled by a separate tightening screw here. Now, this tripod has one more trick up its sleeve, and that comes over here on one of the legs. So if we turn this leg here, we have to give it a pretty firm turn to the left, and it will actually unscrew here, and it will become a monopod with a 3/8 inch threaded top. So we can basically just take our ball head off of the top of the tripod and we can mount it on our monopod. And now we've got a walk around monopod instead of a tripod. So interesting little feature there. There is no shortage of noise out here. All right, now let's just talk about some pros and cons here with this tripod, and then I'll kind of talk about who I think it's for or not for. All right, first up for pros, it's really just the flexibility that this offers you. This tilt axis here really allows you to do all kinds of different camera angles at all different heights. You have this extreme low position with the legs out at their widest, and then you can bring this up and tilt it, and I can get a very low angle top-down shot, or of course, looking out at this height perspective if this was on the ground. Just all kinds of different angles that you can get out of this, which is very handy for content creators because especially if you make content like I do, like this, product review videos, where you do a lot of B-roll and you want to get some creative angles of the products that you're reviewing, having something like this that allows you to get all of those angles, but also get the stability of a tripod instead of always being handheld footage is nice. Another pro would be solid construction. Now, I will point out in just a moment that there are some plastic parts here, but for the most part, all of the metal, all of the aluminum parts feel very sturdy. The legs in particular feel heavy duty and sturdy. All of the leg sections feel good. The adjustments for the locking and unlocking of the leg extensions all feel pretty solid. They feel on par with other tripods that I've used in the price range or slightly higher. It's also easy to make all of the adjustments that you can make. All of the different points that you have to adjust, they've made it easy to do all the adjustments. Everything that locks, everything that needs to be adjusted, it's a quick and simple adjustment, which I appreciate. They've also added little things like a locking pin in here to make sure you don't accidentally pull out the center column. Overall, well thought out and easy to adjust. They also include pretty much everything you need. The only thing they don't include is a secondary type of attachment for the horizontal position. So, I mean, this is kind of like a wish list item, but that's really the only thing that's not included here is the ability to just easily attach a second device unless that device happens to have a 3/8 inch mount on it. While we're talking about this center column, I would say the length of the center column is good. It definitely, sometimes you want like a really long extension in the horizontal position because you've got to have the tripod base a little farther away from the content, the thing that you're shooting. But if I was going to wish for something, it might be an extension here to pull this out a little bit farther. Another pro is having the monopod feature, being able to detach one of the legs and use it as a monopod. It was pretty hard for me to get it detached when it first came, but once I did that, it was easier. So that's a neat extra feature to have as well. And lastly, as far as pros go, I would just say the value for the price. I think $135 is the normal list price on Amazon. I have seen it discounted, so if you catch it at the right time, you might get a little bit of a lower price. But even for its list price of $135, I think the quality of the aluminum construction and the different features, the flexibility it offers, I think it's pretty good value for the price. All right, now let's talk about a few cons here. Now, I mentioned that overall, I am happy with the quality of the construction, especially the aluminum parts seem to be very sturdy. They don't seem flimsy at all. But in the cons section here, I kind of do need to point out some parts are plastic. Actually, a decent number of parts are plastic. It's mostly the connection points, the things that would be more difficult or more expensive to manufacture in metal. So the sleeve here for the main center column when it's horizontal, the actual pivoting axis here for the center column, this whole collar is made of plastic. Now, it is pretty thick and pretty sturdy feeling plastic, but it's worth pointing out that there are plastic parts on here and they're fairly important parts. So as far as long-term durability, I can't really comment because I've only been testing this for a couple of weeks. But at the price point for $130, I would say it is common to have, plastic parts intermingled with metal parts. The only other real con that I see here is the weight. It is quite heavy for a travel tripod. So if you're using it in a studio space like this, if you set up a space to record your content like I do, and your tripods don't really go anywhere, then the weight's not gonna be an issue. In fact, having something that's a little bit more heavy is more stable. And that's a good thing interior in a studio space if you're not trying to strap this to a backpack very frequently. All right, so all of those things considered, who is this tripod for? Well, I think I probably mentioned it. You probably picked up on it throughout the video if you've watched it from the beginning. So I think this actually is a great option for content creators who are making videos kind of like what I do. If you mostly are in an indoor space where you don't need to travel a lot with your tripod, but you do want to have a lot of flexibility. You want to be able to do some top down or some different camera angles. So you want something that allows you to adjust the positioning of the center column. Then this actually, I think, is a great option, especially for somebody who's just starting out and you look at those tripods that are the professional tripods that are $300–400 and you're like, oh man, I can't justify spending that on a tripod, then this actually is a pretty nice option. I think it's a good value for the price for the quality and the flexibility that it provides at the price point. So that being said, who's it not for? Well, as I mentioned, I don't think it is the best choice for a travel tripod if you sort of exclusively or mostly do your content creation or photography or videography on the go. If you're going to be strapping your tripod to a backpack all the time, I would look for a lighter weight tripod than this. So that'll do for this video. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions about the FPT-284. Thanks everybody. See you next time.